I'm going to tell you again. I heard Derrick Gunn say this a couple days ago. If that Philadelphia Eagle drops into that forefront, they're going to get killed in that forefront against the Packers. And if you think you're going to put a 5 front in there and have an open zone for Aaron Rodgers in the middle there without having Avonte Maddox back there as a center fielder for you, and you're going to keep that thing open like that, Rodgers will pick you apart. This is not Tyler Heineke and Matt Ryan. This is going to be a closer game than you think, folks, because you're in a dilemma here with how you're going to defend Aaron Rodgers. This is the best quarterback that you'll play all year. Barring Dak does anything crazy Christmas Eve, it's the best guy you're going to play, and he sees all of this. So if you're out of that 50 front, Rodgers is going to see that immediately. And what? They're going to go to that empty zone in there. But we got more pressing issues here. We got more pressing issues with Derrick Gunn as we bring him in from Sports Take here. I'll tell you, my friend, I have never seen a man who prepares for the holidays. And by the way, you're the coach when it comes to preparing for the holidays. My wife is the one with the Christmas things on top of the house, and I've got to hold the ladder, and she's the Clark Griswold, she's the cook, she's this and that. Dude, grills, the food, you're not a conventional turkey maker. I mean, what's a D Gunn favorite when it comes to a Thanksgiving turkey?
You know what? I've been asked that question so many times. I cannot honestly give you a definitive answer because, Sills, I have 5 different type grills on my patio deck. Plus, I have a deep fryer and an air fryer as well. So that's like 7 different options to combat. So every year when we do a turkey, it starts with, so how are we doing it this year? That's the great debate between my wife and I. And we decided we're going to air fryer this one this year. Okay. I can't even tell you the last time we did a traditional oven turkey. You know, we love oven turkey, but dude, the smoked turkey is phenomenal. Deep fryer turkey is phenomenal. Air fryer turkey is phenomenal. And so we just decided we're going to go with the charbroil air fryer this year. Instead, I would like to do my big green egg smoker and smoke the turkey, but that process sometimes, depending on the size of the bird, takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to do. Now, if I spatchcock it, which is basically you cut that breastbone out of the turkey, you flatten the bird down, you can do a turkey in like 2 hours. But I don't want to spatchcock it. I want to keep those juices more in there. And so I'm going to go with an air fryer this year. And I made a mistake. I bought a 20-pound bird last week, and my wife reminded me the air fryer is only good for a 15-pound bird. So she went out and bought a 12-pound bird yesterday. So we're going to do the 12-pounder for like 10 adults and 3 small kids. So
like Picasso here, listening to Picasso get ready to go with the canvas. I'm sitting here. I'm like, holy cow, this is like Picasso. You see, I got fired from the Traeger.
Why?
Because I didn't understand, and my wife fired me. I'll tell you how. So I decided to take the pellets that were, after the pellets get used up.
Yeah.
I scoop them out and I put them in a brown paper. I put them in a cardboard box.
Okay.
And so, we have a fireplace, and I go lay on the couch, and my wife comes home from cooking, and she goes, "Why is the backyard on fire?"
What?
And I go, "What?" She's like, "Did you clean out the Traeger and put it in a?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Did you not know that those pellets are hot?" The entire backyard, the canopy, the awning. We had two plastic barrels, giant barrels, completely burned to the ground. My wife goes, "You'll never do anything ever again." Dude, I'm a disaster with this.
Are you serious? That's a no-no, dude.
I am barred from touching the Traeger.
Wow. And I have a Traeger also. But the Traeger,
really?
Here's the thing, Sales. My schedule has been so crazy. You've been trying to get me on your show for so long. I do the show noon to 3, and then at 3:15 every day, I pick up my grandson from preschool. I babysit him until 4:30. Then I'm on doing something else, radio show, something else later in the day. And so, unfortunately, I've had to turn you down a number of times, and I apologize for that. My wife bought me a Traeger for Father's Day, a new beautiful Traeger from Cabela's, right? The instructions are still inside of it. I've never opened it. Now I know how to use one because I have friends that have them. It's brand new. I've never even opened it long enough. I haven't opened it enough still. You have to cure it first.
Yeah.
I have not done that yet to it. That's how far behind I am on a lot of stuff.
Where do you get the pellets because the pellets can be flavored?
Oh, dude, I got like 6 different flavored pellets right now.
Oh my God. The thing is, you know what? I did some ribs on it. And
okay.
I got to tell you, D-Gun, that thing is one of the best things I've ever had when it comes to how that prepares that meat, and even hamburgers.
Really?
They even taste different. I put hamburgers on there too. I mean, unbelievable.
Now, how long does it take you to cook the hamburgers?
Normal hamburger, however you like it. It doesn't take a
couple
long
of
time.
minutes.
Couple minutes.
Really?
You get that thing cooking. Oh my God.
Now
you
okay.
Use I'm promising you, make some hamburgers on that Traeger. You won't believe it. All right, D-Gun, first off, before we get into sports, dark meat, white meat.
Dark. I cannot stand white meat on a bird. Any bird.
Are you a leg man?
Absolutely.
Apple pie, pecan pie.
Oh, geez. Oh, my wife right now is downstairs making 2 of her phenomenal apple pies, along with she's almost completed making 2 of her phenomenal cheesecakes. Push comes to shove, if you're going to twist my arm, as much as I love her apple pie, my parents grew up in the South, and pecan pies are big in the South. I'm a pecan pie man.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too, man. I love pecan pie. You like deviled eggs?
Depends on who's making them.
How about if you're making them?
No. If my wife's making them, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Derrick, let's go into this game here on Sunday now. You said something the other day, and I listen to you guys. You guys do such a great job on Sports Take. I recommend you guys follow it and watch it. It's really a great show. And you said something that is so profound in how it's going to play itself out.
Yeah.
If the Eagles are in a forefront, they get murdered against the run, and they will lose first and second down. Yes. You're in a little bit of a dilemma going into this game. This is probably going to be Aaron Rodgers' last game potentially playing either for Green Bay forever or for the season, because they may shut him down to get Jordan Love if they lose this ball game.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to play his ass off. Well, if you put a forefront in there, Avonte Maddox isn't in there. Jonathan Gannon loves to play that shell zone coverage. Are you really going to allow Aaron Rodgers to pick you apart in that? This game's going to be closer. No. Do you feel it, D-Gun?
You know what? I don't know, Sales, because I honestly don't know which Aaron Rodgers is going to show up. Is it the one who torched Dallas, or is it the one who couldn't hit the ocean against Tennessee last Thursday? I don't know. I've never seen Aaron Rodgers miss receivers wide open across the middle of the field. And I'm talking wide open in crucial situations across the middle of the field, the way he missed wide receivers last week. I honestly don't know. I don't know if he's mentally casted. Aaron Rodgers is a different dude to begin with, man. Ever since he admitted he was out there, dabbling in that Amazon peyote, I don't know, whatever that stuff is, dude. And you look at how he approaches, and then you look at his comments after the game against Tennessee. That was bad. Yeah, we could do this. We have the potential. There's like no sense of urgency like we've seen with him in the past. It's like I think mentally, has he conceded the season? Considering
he's checked out,
considering this organization did nothing to get him frontline receivers, and he said all the right things, did all the right things. He's a consummate, franchise poster boy, but he is also the ultimate warrior, like anybody is in the National Football League. And basically, for the whole season, he's gone to a gunfight with a cap gun when it comes to having weapons. I wonder if he's just basically checked out. I don't know him. But just going on what we've seen on the surface and body language and his verbal responses to questions, this guy here, nobody is scared of Aaron Rodgers right now. Been saying that. Okay, we'll see. You never know.
He is on pace for 30 touchdowns and 4,200 yards.
He is.
I mean, even though there's no question, I think that defense has not been well, and I don't think the offense has played all that hot. But if you look at the numbers, and what's crazy about Aaron Rodgers, D-Gun, a down season for Rodgers is 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns.
I know,
and
that's
7
scary.
picks.
That's scary. Now I have said this could be the get-right game for the Eagles because Green Bay has 7 first-round draft picks playing on their defense. Now, Eric Stokes is not there anymore. He's gone for the season. He got injured. So you still have 6 available first-round picks out of 11 men playing on your defense. They are susceptible to the run, have been all season. They've had communication problems on the back end in the passing game as well. They have been a discombobulated unit on defense all year long. And so the Eagles, who have struggled to run the ball consistently the last 2 games, should be able to run the football. And if they want to go up top, they should have a good measure of success through the air as well against this team. So what the Eagles have not been able to do the last couple of games, they should be able to do against this Green Bay defense.
You know, Derek, I said this also about, you know, when we watch, and here's why I had a problem with Sirianni and the screaming in the fans and Howie and all that. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
The level-headed guy in the building was Jalen, thank God.
Yeah.
The emotional up and down of Nick. And look, I get it. Your greatest asset sometimes, Derek, is your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes for me, it's also my worst asset in my
Right.
life that I can have. And my problem is when you have coaches going so up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Dungy used to tell me that, hey, never get too high, never
Right.
get too low, because your players look to that for leadership. I think last week, that whole entire Frank Reich thing, I think it clouded the judgment of the game plan. 4th and 10 in the third, the
Ooh.
way that they were going back and forth. I mean, if it wasn't for Jalen calling his own play, some of that stuff in the fourth quarter with Hurts putting that ball in the end zone was all Jalen. And these guys were so helter-skelter. The offense was stagnant. It wasn't going anywhere. And again, when you're in situations like that, your coaching staff's got to be level-headed. And again, the screaming and all that stuff and the emotions and the crying. Hey, I've had players cut during the regular year. We all lose players.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches get fired. He's walking out the door at $8 million. There's got to be an emotional guy in the building. And thank God it was the quarterback. That was my takeaway from that. I thought he let the emotions of that game last week influence the way that they called that game against the Colts, and that's why it looked the way it did sporadically, especially on offense. Am I wrong?
You know what? I never even thought about that. Normally, Nick has been known to be an even-keeled guy. You know, he's one of the boys when he has to be. He can be the disciplinarian when he has to be. But you could tell this was more than just a game to him, because not only was Frank Reich his mentor, Frank Reich was like a father figure to him. And you could tell leading up to the game by the comments that he said but didn't finish those sayings. Basically, he wanted to get back at the Colts for how they treated Frank Reich, who was forced to basically go with Sam Ehlinger. Didn't work out. Then all of a sudden, one of the heroes of the franchise historically, Jeff Saturday, comes back, and oh, by the way, I want Matt Ryan back in there. I don't want Ehlinger in there.
But D-Gun, how was that part of the press conference for the buildup of the game, and how was that part of the narrative of this? Isn't that stuff that has to be done privately with your team in a locker room behind scenes? There's guys in that locker room that got connections to Frank, like Jason Kelsey and that guys.
True.
Why does that stuff have to be so publicly out there? The tears after the game. And look, I get the passion. I've known Frank 40 years too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just thought it got in the way a little bit last week.
I don't know if it did or not. I honestly think it was just a bunch of pent-up emotions.
Agreed.
That he kept the reins on, and when they finally got that last 4th down play, all those emotions came forward. I don't know if it clouded his judgment, because basically Shane Steichen calls the plays. You know, Sirianni turned the reins over to Steichen, and you know,
he worked for him too.
He sure did. But I think this was more of I don't care how we do it. I just want to stick it to Jim Irsay and that organization. Yeah. And lo and behold, I've never looked at the aspect of, did it cloud his judgment in terms of calling the plays or strategizing for a game? Because
4th and 10.
Well, I mean, think about it. But They
You
had
got one of the
problems.
best place kickers in the league. Why not at least try to get some points there and try to go up on them?
How many teams have we seen across the board in the National Football League this year make questionable decisions on third down and fourth down?
Tons.
So I can't single that out as an emotional element for what he was trying to do, considering they were coming off a game against Washington 6 days before where they had the same kind of struggles. And we questioned some of the decision-making then as well. So I understand where you're going with this. I'm not going to discount it. I can't disagree with you, but I can't pinpoint it right here and right now and say, you know what, that's a definitive reason why the Eagles struggled with the Colts. I think it's more so of what Lane Johnson told me when I asked him the question on our postgame show. I said, Lane, do you think defenses are starting to catch on to what you're doing? And Lane said emphatically, he said, D. Gunn, the last few games, we're seeing concepts from defenses that we don't see all week long on film. So that tells me that defensive coordinators are trying to give them a look to slow them down because they know this is an offense that can blow up and explode on you in any given moment. I'm based on just what Lane said. I think the way that game played out, the way the Washington game played out, I think is more so of defensive coordinators trying to counter the chess moves in a game. And so what did the two teams try to do? The Eagles, two mediocre teams try to do: control the clock, keep the ball on the ground, keep that Eagles offense on the sideline. And both of those teams did a pretty good job of that. The difference was Washington was able to finish, but the Colts were not. Once the Colts went up 13-3, and I tweeted it out, and I said it to a bunch of people, the Colts are playing this game not to lose. That's the worst way you could play a Philadelphia Eagles team right now this season. And sure enough, it came back to bite them.
You know what, Derek? I'll tell you, when you made that comment, I was watching the postgame show, and when Lane said that, I'll tell you what Lane was talking about. Mm-hmm. For the first time in a game, I saw a spy left in by the Colts.
That's right.
And they were spying in Hurts.
That's right. That's right.
On third down. And I don't know if he was a strong safety that came down or if he was a backer, but he sat there on the line of scrimmage. And if you watched it, there were times that Jalen juked him and got away from him. Yes. And I hadn't seen that dynamic from a defense going into a game. That was the first time that I saw a spy. Yep. And Jalen was able to get around that when it came to the fourth quarter. So again, I thought you're going
to see more of that. And also,
I do too.
Also, Sills, I said since the Cowboys game, if you notice, it started with the Cowboys. You see more and more defenses now where the crashing ends don't crash anymore. They sprint, they stop, and they wait to see what Jalen's going to do on that RPO. And that's forcing Jalen to make a quicker decision in terms of what he wants to do. The ends are not crashing down like they were before or running past the line of scrimmage thinking Jalen's going to drop back.
They're setting the edge.
That also alters your offensive game flow as well. And we're going to see that again. You're going to see it with the Giants defense. You're going to see it with Tennessee. Tennessee's defense, they don't get a lot of accolades, but Tennessee is a very rugged defense. And if that Dallas defense that we saw that shut down Minnesota on Sunday is a consistent Dallas, we're going to see it again when they have the rematch down in Dallas on Christmas Eve.
You know, D-Gun, I thought the loss of Goedert was so evident in that game. And I'm not just talking about the offensive output.
Right.
Look at the 7 penalties. 4 of them were by the tight ends on trying to set the edge and holding. And I was like this, Derek. I was like, Goedert might not be the best pass catching tight end. He's in the top 3. Yeah. When you talk about complete and overall, him and the guy in Baltimore are probably the 2 best all-around tight ends in blocking. And I thought the running game on setting the edges, how many times did we see the tight end get a holding penalty? Hell, even Lane got a holding penalty.
That's right.
Because they didn't have him out there. I mean, his impact is going to be felt in this offense as they move forward.
You cannot have your tight end position have just 1 catch for 7 yards the entire game. The tight end in this offense is an integral part of the offensive flow in this game. Now, we know the tight ends that are still standing for the Eagles. Jack Stoll, great hands, not a great blocker. Calcaterra, good hands, not a great blocker. We don't know what Tyree Jackson is. We know he's a 6'7" frame with a wingspan like a California Condor, but we don't know what he is as a blocker. But we know he has ability. So you have a bunch of sums of parts. You don't have a whole like a Dallas Goedert. That alters, you think about it. A lot of times when Jalen wasn't hurt, who's he looking for? His safety valve, his tight end. That guy's not there. Doesn't have the same comfort zone as he did with the Dallas Goedert, and that's understandable. You see that time and time again. But Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen have to some way, somehow find a way to get the tight end more integrated in the offensive flow, not just in catching the ball, but also help setting the edge in the running game as well.
Do you agree that this offense is stunning the growth of Devonta Smith? I'm going to give you some stats. 19 catches in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Going into the game, he had 128 yards in a month.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get AJ, I get Goedert. I mean, but he's probably going to have the same amount of yards as he had a year ago. I mean, I think look, if you look at Jalen Waddle, the guy that was with him at Alabama, he is tearing the league up right now.
Right.
How do you look at the way that they're maximizing or non-maximizing Devonta Smith right now?
I won't say stunning his growth, but I think they're negating his ability to get much huger numbers. The reason being, Jalen was with Devonta down in Alabama briefly, but A.J. Brown was his boy from way back when. It's quite obvious that those two are on another planet when it comes to a connection because of their long history together. Every quarterback has a favorite receiver. You mentioned Jalen Waddle. Obviously, he's putting up big numbers because you got to triple team that dude named Tyreek, and you can't triple team him. You put 3 men on him, you can't stop Tyreek, but it frees up Jalen Waddle, who is an excellent receiver, to do more of what he's been doing this season. Devonta, he had some good numbers against the Colts because I don't think AJ was 100% going into that game with that ankle issue. And hopefully AJ's much better coming up against Green Bay. And you saw Devonta get more looks that game against the Colts. I think it's a matter of Devonta just has to wait his turn, so to speak. When you have an athlete like an A.J. Brown, who is a beast in the slot route game, and that thing is worked to perfection for the Eagles between Jalen and A.J., if I'm Devonta, I'm thinking, well, what about me? When you think about it, he was 65 yards away last year from having a 1,000-yard season as a rookie. Now all of a sudden his numbers are not going to equal that because of the emergence of a guy they brought in who was already an accomplished receiver. And oh, by the way, you're paying him $100 million compared to this guy being a rookie contract. Who's getting the ball more?
Not a question.
Who's getting the ball?
Not a question. 2 last questions here for you.
Yeah.
Help me out here on this. Is this business decisions going on with Miles Sanders? Is he hurt? What is the issue with Miles Sanders? I mean, I know that you're a fan of Kenneth Gainwell, but
No,
Kenneth
whoa, who, me? No,
okay.
No.
Oh, that's somebody else on the show then, because for me, I'm like this.
Yeah.
Why is Kenneth Gainwell in third down situations, and you got a back that's on pace for 1,400 yards right now, and if he's not hurt, are you phasing him out of the offense? I mean, this guy had 50 catches or something his rookie year. I don't know why that got away from his arsenal of how you use him. I mean, give me because it's very, I mean, I don't understand how they're taking Miles, it seems, out of the offense. Your best running back right now, again, is Hurts.
I believe, I said it on a show a few days ago. It was based on what you just said. The kid had 50-something catches as a rookie, but you look at his numbers his last year under Doug Peterson and his year plus under Sirianni. I don't know if Miles has lost confidence in himself in catching the ball, or this offense has lost confidence in him catching the ball, or if it's a combination of the two. I think Miles Sanders is a much more effective, dangerous weapon when you integrate him both in the running game and the passing game. I don't think Miles is built to be a 25, 27 carry a game back. He had the 127 carry game against the Jaguars, and he tore him up on sloppy conditions. But I think his forte is if he gets around 18 to 20 touches a game total, that's where Miles Sanders is the most effective. The fact that he's now being looked at as reduced in that regard, I don't know. I wish I had the inside track.
Merrill Reese said yesterday he thought that, if you look at his game log, that he doesn't really play all the games all year long.
Mhm.
Merrill was thinking that maybe they're saving him for December and January because, here's a guy that's not used to having a lot of work. I mean, Derrick,
Right.
if you really look at it, there's probably something to that this guy's not conditioned to carry the ball, as you said, 20
No.
times a game.
No. 25, 27 times a game, no. And if they're saving him for December, shame on them because,
Agreed.
okay, you're getting through a mediocre portion of your schedule, which you're struggling with Washington, Indianapolis, Green Bay. Then all of a sudden the competition escalates. You have a 7-3 Tennessee team. You have a 7-3 Giants team that's coming up twice. You have a 7-3 Cowboys team that's coming up as well. And if you want to maintain the number 1 overall seed, you can't diffuse your offense. You know what? Injuries happen in the National Football League. Now, we know his injury history. Yes, he's susceptible to being injured, but you got to keep moving forward, man. All of a sudden, you're going to look up and you got 1 or 2 teams tied with you for that division lead, and all of a sudden, tiebreakers come into play as well. Once you get past this Green Bay team, if you get past them with the W, it's all straight ahead for everybody. If you're healthy and you're available, we expect you to have a certain amount of contributions to what we're trying to get done here. And Miles Sanders is an integral part of this team getting to where they want to go. As you said, this dude at least 1,300 yards capable of running this year if he stays healthy. Now, it's a contract year for Miles. Miles is playing on that with that proverbial chip on his shoulder as well. Are you trying to reduce his numbers to gain a negotiating chip for next year?
I think there's something to that.
See, I've seen it happen time and time again across the National Football League. I've had players tell me in the years past, hey, if I'd have played this game, if I'd have had one more sack, I'd have got this $100,000 bonus, $150,000 bonus.
Look at what Howie did a couple years ago to the guys when they sat Jalen Hurts and had Nate Sudfeld, and they started putting starters. And you know what, Derrick, you bring such a great point up because in all of our contracts, there's a playing percentage clause, 75%.
Absolutely.
85% of the plays. If your offense is number 1, if you play 18 games,
X amount of carries, X amount of yards,
all of that stuff. And so Howie is notorious for that kind of stuff here. Final question for you.
Yep.
Are you sold that Sue and Joseph are going to be the guys that are going to fix this problem? Or do you think this was a one-game issue? I know I'm asking you to rub the crystal ball here because we got some big-time running teams come up. You just named them here.
Right.
And it's one thing. I was shocked, and I couldn't believe how well they played. I thought for the limited plays, I thought Joseph and Sue were spectacular for what they were asked to do. However, you're now going through a stretch here, and I think the big question is going to be, is this a one-off, or is this really going to be something that has plagued this team, first and second down run defense? Do you think this is the answer?
Based on a one-game sample, I'm going to lean towards yes. Now, we know Jordan Davis is coming back, so now you're going to have three gargantuan defensive tackles rotating in there. If you keep Sue, Davis, Linville right around 15, 18 snaps, yes. Big Sales, as you know, man, all you're asking these guys to do is gap control.
Oh, yeah.
You look at a Deshaun Jackson who came off the vacation tour, so to speak. First game for Baltimore, he tweaks his hamstring again. You're not asking these guys to run full sprint 20, 30 yards down the field. All they got to do is control the gaps and let the guys around them make the plays. So in that regard, when you're talking about almost 1,000 pounds of beef between those three dudes right there, that's a lot of human being to try to move out of that middle. And a lot of teams are trying to run those trap schemes in it right in the middle of the field. Now, they did a great job in terms of neutralizing the defending rushing champ and Jonathan Taylor. I would say right now, I got to give Howie's kudos for going out and getting two guys that were sitting there, came off the streets 2 or 3 days notice and contributed significantly in terms of stopping that run. I think it's going to be beneficial in the long run. And I think it's going to really help when you start playing the likes of Henry, Saquon, and Tony Pollard and Zeke coming up. I think it's going to be huge.
Seeing Coach Roseman there at the open of the of the locker room there, letting everybody know, man. Look what I did. Look, hey, I'll tell you what, he likes to take his victory laps, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He always has. He's always out there shaking hands after a win, patting guys on the back. Usually he meets them in the locker room.
Yeah.
But this time he felt it was important to be out there and greeting the guys. That was a hard-fought win. If that Colts kicker makes that field goal, Eagles lose that game 19-17. A few plays here or there could have gone another way. If they don't get that deep pass interference call, did the Eagles go down the field and score that winning touchdown? You don't know, but that's the game. That's how the game is played. You get the breaks, you don't get the breaks. You make your own breaks, you don't make your own breaks. And luckily for the Eagles, they made their breaks when they had to at the most.
All right, I got to leave you with this, with a little.
Yeah.
I do have one bitch about the whole holiday thing with you.
But
wait a minute now. So you put a tree up before? I mean, you're done with Turkey Day, man?
I got three up.
I got three up until after. You got 2 trees up already?
No, 3. Now one's decorated.
3 up already.
We put between the sizes of 2 feet all the way to 9 feet. My wife has we put up a total of like 10, 11 trees around the house. Trees on the dining room table, on shelves with lights on them. 9-foot tree in the foyer, 7-foot tree in the living room. 7-foot tree, I had to rush and finish it by 4 a.m. for my 3-year-old grandson because I promised him while we're doing all the preparation for the turkey stuffings and stuff last night that I would finish it for him. So 1 tree is finished, the family root tree. The monstrosity is yet to come, which is the 9-foot tree that my son and I will start tackling either today or Friday.
Lot of sap. Hey,
no, they're all fake trees. I'm done with live trees.
Oh, me too, man.
I'm done with those.
No.
I'm done with stepping on needles in January and February. No matter how well you vacuum, all of a sudden these little boogers pop up somewhere. I'm done with that.
You don't have animals too in the house, do you?
Oh, 3 dogs. Yes, 3 dogs.
So wait.
Yes, 3 dogs.
This is totally the Griswolds, man. I mean,
yes.
Tell me you have a sleigh in the front yard.
Not a sleigh, but we have reindeer, the mama, the papa, and the 3 babies. The nativity scene. I got this huge. It's a red pickup truck. It lights up. I bought it from Lowe's a couple of years ago. I'm not even going to tell you what my wife and I paid for this thing. This thing is sharp though, man. It's like a red pickup truck, Santa's pickup truck. And we've had the debate about inflatables. My wife hates inflatables because they never stand up the way they're supposed to. I have an 8-foot inflatable snowman. I'm trying to sneak out the front yard. She won't let me. She goes out and buys, and she says it's at my request. She just bought 3 additional. One's like this big 6-foot weenie dog. One's this, my 3-year-old grandson loves dinosaurs. He can pronounce every name of a dinosaur you can think of. He says he's going to be a paleontologist at the age of 3. She bought, and I said, "Hun, they're just going to be target practice for the dogs in the backyard. Why are we?" She wants to put inflatables in the backyard.
Hey, please post this shit, man, because this is.
I will. Trust me.
Hey.
It's coming.
Hey, man, Derrick, thank you so much, man. You're one of the hardest working men in Philadelphia sports, man. I really appreciate it. And by the way, I want to thank you for this. Your friendship means a lot to me, man. You're legendary. Your reputation is second to none. I treasure our friendship that we're building. Thank you so much, my friend, for everything you do by coming on here and being part of our network as well. Thank you, my friend.
Anytime I can for you, Sills, to you and your family. Happy Thanksgiving to all your followers in the chat. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Please be safe out there. Have fun. Enjoy the family and festivities. But more importantly, be safe, man. It's a lot of craziness in this world we live in today. Absolutely. Craziness out there. Thank you, D. Gunn. Happy holidays, my friend. Same to you, brother. You got it there. All right. Hour number 2 is coming up. Please do me a favor. I love Derrick Gunn, man. What a credit to have him on our network as well. Please hit the like button. Hour number 2. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go to get your game on.